Sony just dropped Horizon Hunters Gathering, a co-op hunt spin-off from Guerrilla Games. Why does it matter? Because PlayStation's doubling down on the same risky live service thing that just flopped with Concord. Let's be real, we're smack in the please buy these skins, so we can pay for our next game era, and Hunters Gathering is the latest pitch. If you felt a sudden dread, that's not the weather, it's your backlog crying for help. Alright, a bit of background, since it helps. Sony's been chasing recurring revenue, like it's the last medkit in a boss fight. Sometimes that pays off. Helldivers 2 turned total chaos into a cash machine. Other times it's pure disaster. Take Concord, launched August 23, 2024, dead by September 6. That's not a bumpy launch, that's a refund speedrun. I promise there's a real human behind the mic, mostly because an AI would have a much better time reading this than I do. Just a human with a microphone and a dream. So now Guerrilla, the robot dinosaur folks, are back. Early 2026 they'll step up and say, hey, we've got a co-op action game with hunts, progression, and crossplay. And honestly, my first reaction isn't hype. It's that meme of the guy touching the stove again, hoping this time he won't get burned. Hunters Gathering is 3-player co-op, customizable hunters, a campaign you can play solo, with AI, if you want to suffer alone. That's the pitch. On paper it sounds like a fun weekend. But it's not just a weekend game, it's Sony's next big swing. And big swings come with strings attached. Remember when Horizon meant a top-tier single-player adventure? Now it wants to be your main game, the one you log into every night like it's a second job. The robots have timesheets now. The trailer pushes replayable hunts and 2 modes, Machine Incursion and Cauldron Descent. If those sound like something a marketing bot cooked up after binging Monster Hunter updates, you're not alone. The vibe, structured grind, the genre, please don't uninstall, the business model, who knows? I get it, games cost a fortune, budgets are nuts, and investors love steady income more than gamers love complaining about microtransactions. But the live service market is a mosh pit, not an empty dance floor. Overwatch, Apex, Fortnite, Destiny, Warframe, the list goes on. For Hunters Gathering to work, it has to pull players away from the games they already poured hundreds of hours into, or somehow create a whole new crowd. Sony keeps treating player habits like a switch you can flip, but it's more like a cement mixer, slow, stubborn, messy. Let's talk about the art style, because everyone else is. Guerrilla's famous for those stunning worlds, and machines that look like they could fry your graphics card. Hunters Gathering ditches all that for a lighter, more readable look, good for clarity in co-op chaos, and let's be honest, easier to sell skins without melting your system. Less nature dock, more action figure aisle. And of course, the internet lost its mind. People saw the new art and immediately yelled, Fortnite clone, like it's a reflex. Is it Fortnite? No. Is it chasing that same big, broad, stylized look? Yeah, a bit. Stylized art scales better, and scaling is the point of live service games. When publishers talk about building community, they really mean keeping you coming back. Community is the nice word. Retention is the word on the spreadsheet. Guess which one the suits care about? Character talk blew up instantly. 2. Customizable hunters mean big silhouettes, chunky armor, exaggerated features, so you know who's who in a fight. That's just good design. But online, it's all why do they look like that, and a pile of screenshots with someone shouting like it's their job. My take. If your first reaction to a new game is arguing about shoulders, you're probably not that into the game anyway. But even if the characters look perfect, the real issue is trust. Sony's record with live service games is split. On one side, Helldivers 2 proved a co-op game can crush it if it nails the right mix of chaos and personality. Concord just proved that you can spend years making a flashy, full-priced online shooter and still crash and burn in 2 weeks. Now here comes Hunters Gathering stepping onto the field with a giant "please don't compare me" sign taped to its back. The timing isn't doing it any favors either. Announced February 5th, 2026, and already promising a closed playtest by the end of the month. Yeah, that's fast. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's panic. A quick playtest sometimes means, hey, we're proud of this. But sometimes it just screams, we need to know what's broken before the internet decides we're dead on arrival. But let's talk about what actually matters, gameplay. Because that's where these games live or die. Not in the fancy cutscenes. The reveal pitched the core loop as tactical, skill-based co-op hunts against machines. Sounds cool. Honestly, Horizon's machines are basically walking boss fights. The big question is the loop deep enough to stay fun after your squad cracks the formula. Every co-op game hits that wall eventually. You go from yelling and laughing to running numbers and optimizing the fun out of it. Machine Incursion looks like your classic wave mode with bosses at the end. Cauldron Descent feels like a dungeon run with shifting rules and rewards. These formats work. That's also the issue, they're safe. And safe is just another word for boring, unless the combat absolutely hooks you. The worst thing a game can be is serviceable. It's not a dirty word, but it might as well be. Crossplay and cross progression are in, which is good because In 2026, splitting your player base is like opening a restaurant and putting the kitchen 3 blocks away. Sony finally figured out that walls don't build loyalty, they just kill lobbies. Good on them. Still, crossplay doesn't fix a shallow game loop, it just means more people notice it. And yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Monster Hunter. Anytime you toss around words like hunts and co-op, Capcom's lawyers probably get a little twitchy. Hunter's Gathering needs to avoid becoming Monster Hunter, but smaller, faster, and with a cash shop. That's the danger zone where players ask, why am I playing this when the real thing exists? The scariest competition isn't the next big game, it's the old favorite that keeps getting new updates. You're not fighting launch day, you're fighting people's routines. Sony's strategy gets interesting here. They want a bunch of live service games running at once, all feeding back into their ecosystem. That sounds smart until you realize you're just making your own games fight each other. The audience isn't endless. Time isn't endless. My attention span sure isn't endless. And yes, I saw all the Sony didn't learn from Concord jokes. They're funny because, honestly, there's some truth there, genre differences aside. Concord was a premium hero shooter and it flopped instantly. Hunter's Gathering might be priced differently. Maybe it's smarter. It could even be genuinely good. But it's still asking for the same thing, your long-term commitment. Every live service pitch is like a relationship proposal. You're not just selling me a night out, you're selling a mortgage. And if the first date includes a cash shop, I'm already eyeing the exit. Now for the always controversial modern audience talk. Publishers keep chasing this mythical new crowd that's supposed to show up, spend money, and never ask annoying questions like, so, where's Horizon 3? That audience looks great in PowerPoints. In real life, the modern audience is just the same people, tired, broke, and surrounded by better options. Meanwhile, hardcore Horizon fans only want one thing, finish Aloy's story. Forbidden West in 2022, Burning Shores in 2023, and now it's 2026 and we're talking about a co-op spin-off. Doesn't mean a sequel's not coming, but it does mean the team's split. Franchise fatigue isn't about too many games. It's about the wrong games at the wrong time. And yes, Jeff Kelly energy is all over this, because if anyone embodies world premiere hype, it's Jeff. He's not the villain, he's just the messenger. If the package stinks, blame whoever shipped it, not the mailman. Last thing, trailers. Because that's where trust goes to die. If your trailer is 90% cinematic, and 10% maybe that's gameplay, I don't feel hyped. I feel suspicious. Hunter's Gathering is doing the classic reveal trick, show off the vibe, hide the friction. Friction's where you realize the loot table hates you. If a game's confident, it shows someone missing a dodge and getting wrecked. If it's insecure, you get slow-mo hero shots and a glowing logo. That's not gameplay. That's just marketing paying the rent. Alright, let's cut to it. What actually makes this work? For starters, Horizon's machines just beg you to shoot them. Weak points light up like little hit-me targets, which makes every fight feel good. Co-op helps too. When you're repeating stuff, at least you can turn it into a joke with friends. Plus, Guerrilla knows how to build systems. If they can make progression feel rewarding, without turning it into a part-time job, that's a win in my book. But what tanks the whole thing? Easy. If the cash shop feels necessary, you're done. If the battle pass makes you log in, out of guilt, not fun, forget it. If the grind only works for people who drop hundreds, that's a problem. And if they can't keep the content coming, you hit that dead zone, where everyone just waits for next season. Most live service games don't crash and burn, they just slowly bleed out until you notice your friends stop showing up. There's also the lore. Horizon's world is weird and layered and weirdly pretty, a little look at humanity, never learning. But Hunter's Gathering is a co-op game, so the story has to share space with all the systems. That's a tough balance. If the plot's just an excuse to hunt robo-dinos, single-player fans will roll their eyes. If it tries to get deep, co-op chaos will steamroll any nuance. Telling a story in co-op is like trying to read a book while someone's microwaving fish in the next room. Meanwhile, people want to judge this game yesterday. Patience died around 2016, and now the internet is ratio watching trailers and counting dislikes like it's fantasy football. That's not analysis, that's stress content. Here's a healthier move, wait for actual gameplay, then make up your mind. Still, I get the skepticism. Sony's earned it. That's not hate, it's what happens when companies treat your trust like it's unlimited. It isn't. Once it's gone, every new trailer feels like an infomercial. Now about that 7 years in development rumor. Maybe it's true, maybe it's overblown, maybe it counts all the prototypes, reboots, and whatever phase where everything was a platform. Studios can burn ages chasing trends and changing direction. Long timelines aren't always bad though. But fast-moving markets don't wait, and sometimes you end up launching a ship into a whole new ocean and wonder why it doesn't float. So here's my quick, probably over-caffeinated take. Hunter's Gathering is either a clever co-op side project to keep Horizon in the spotlight while Guerrilla works on the real sequel, or it's another shot at turning a blockbuster franchise into a subscription treadmill. Sony needs it to be the first one. Shareholders cheer for the second. Players will punish them if it feels like a cash grab. Now for the thing nobody wants to admit, this could actually be fun. Yep, I said it. The combat could be sharp, the hunts could be a blast, and the progression might actually respect your time. If that happens, all those memes will age like yogurt. But fun isn't enough in live service. You need solid tech, steady updates, good balance, and a community team that doesn't sound like they're reading a hostage statement. Launch day isn't the game, it's just the interview. The real test is whether anyone cares 3 months later. So, where does Horizon go from here? If Hunter's Gathering works, Sony will roll out more spin-offs and double down on Horizon as a universe. If it fails, expect a mess. Some execs will blame toxic gamers, others will point to market conditions, and a few honest souls will quietly say, maybe not everything needs to be a forever game. And regular people will just keep asking, cool, so when's Horizon 3? If you want to know if the game's good, wait for playtest impressions in late February 2026. Look for real combat, real menus, real signs of how they'll try to monetize you. If the game respects you, you'll know right away. If it wants to milk you, you'll feel it before you even hit level 10. The first red flag is never the store, it's the design that shoves you toward the store. That's the giveaway. So yeah, Guerrilla made robot dinosaurs. Sony wants those dinosaurs to print money on a schedule. Hunter's Gathering is where those two agendas collide. If it clicks, we get a solid co-op game, and maybe a beefier single-player sequel. If it flops, it's just another what were they thinking moment, right next to Concord's grave. Either way, I'll be there, controller in one hand, sandwich in the other, watching the industry do the same dance, with shinier graphics. Because nothing says next gen like a beautiful apocalypse and a battle pass timer, judging you. And if you're a Horizon fan, don't doom scroll alone, laugh, critique, and vote with your time. Time's the one thing studios can't fake. Spend it wisely.